I was in Minneapolis, I think. hmm And I just given the talk on suicide, and it's a really heavy talk. And the room was packed, probably I don't know, 300 students. And whenever I give the talk, I'm always confronted afterwards with the reality of where these students are in their lives. And there's usually a line that forms that wants to talk to me. Some push back at me. Most are crying and want just to express themselves and the struggles that they're going through. And I had one girl come up to me and she says, I mean, I think she said she was like 19. She says, I'm a Christian. I love Jesus. I've been a churchgoer my whole life. My parents are Christians. I've been going to a church and my youth group leader, her pastor, youth pastor, and her best friends have told her she can't come to the youth group anymore. This is what she's saying to me, because she's wrestling with her sexual identity. So her pastor sat her down and said, until you sort this out and come to an understanding that you are a heterosexual female, you're no longer welcome in youth group. That is incredibly damaging. It's also just ludicrous to me as a pastor. We are all in struggling. I mean, there are forces tearing at the very fabric of reality, and each one of us has our own issues. And when we as Christians highlight one person's sin and make it somehow worse than everybody else's, or tell them, I mean, and then meanwhile, we've got people in the church who are getting divorced. There are certainly people who are watching pornography. There are certainly people who are any other, I mean, a myriad of other sexual sins that are happening. And we turn a blind eye to it, or we counsel them, but allow them in fellowship, which is the right way to do it, I think, if as long as it's a repentant, there's repentance there, right? So I just felt bad for this young girl, and her condemnation that she had been receiving for a year was leading her to think maybe she should just die. And that's just terrible to me. So as we're responding to people, we want to make sure that this it all comes back to that saying, right? Jesus came to make us more human, not less. We have a better answer. We have a better ethic. We have a better way to look at reality. We have the true story of reality. And we want to be pointing people, remembering that they're people, to that at all times. Behind every objection is a person struggling to escape the snares of the devil. And often they don't even know they're ensnared. This is why when I approach this topic, I want to approach the issue from kind of another angle. I want to remember that we all struggle. Francis Schaeffer was really clear on this, and I don't have his exact quote, but he says something to the effect that we all struggle in this entire life until glory. And we bond together in that. We bear each other's burdens. So we got to remember that we struggle. Our struggles might look differently than someone else's struggles, but we struggle nevertheless. And as we seek to, as Paul says, destroy arguments raised against the knowledge of God and take every thought captive to the obedience of Christ, let's not forget the value and worth of the human being that we're talking to. Jesus came to make us more human, not less human. And this is why our speech must always be with grace, as though seasoned with salt, so that you'll know how you should respond to each person. Philosophies of the world and its human governments might gladly lead people straight to hell. But our job as ambassadors of Christ is to rescue people with the truth of the gospel. You see, Jesus, he's the ruler of the kings of the earth. He's the Lord of Lords, and his word is in his law will govern history forever, and they always have. And it's in him where we find our identity. We have to put this stuff on and own it, friends. And that's, I think, how we need to start approaching it, offering a better way.